after 18 months or so, here we are. Coach Turner, we're back.
Back at it, Coach. I'm ready.
Take a T.O. with Coach Turner is here. I'm your host, Kurt Cross, and we're going to do some things. Shout out to Casey O'Neill.
Big shout out to Casey O'Neill.
This is where it started with Casey, right?
No doubt, and I miss my brother.
It started with an idea. Casey was a part of 100 episodes, maybe. I don't know how many we did.
We did a lot.
A bunch of episodes. He brought in some great guests. He brought in a great angle. He brought in the big brother, little brother relationship, right?
The Buckaroo Boys.
The Buckaroo Boys. He was here for that. And Casey, we love you. We miss you. And we thank you for giving your nod to us continuing this podcast with Take a T.O. with Coach Turner. I am Kurt Cross. He is Coach Turner. And here we are. What's up, Coach?
Coach, not too much. Pumped up. I think you can see the big smile. I feel like I got a cheese grin on. Excited to be back on the mic.
I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, Coach Turner. We got to give you some applause.
Hey, I appreciate that.
That's my bad. My bad. I'm a little rusty behind the board, all right? Because we don't have DJ Krissy. She runs the board.
Yeah, we miss her too.
Yeah, we miss her too. She wouldn't have made that mistake.
No, she would not.
She would have had the applause ready.
But, excited just to be back and
right.
And talk hoops, talk life,
right.
Talk family,
right?
Talk social,
right?
Talk everything.
Well, tell me what brings you back. Why are you back on this mic at this table?
Curtis, I've been missing this thing for a long time,
right?
And I'll be honest with you, I don't know that I could have jumped into this with anybody else.
Oh man, I appreciate hearing that,
and I mean that. The guidance that I thought Casey and I were able to gain from you and your leadership and you getting us ready with the scripts and having a plan. There's nobody else I'd rather do this with. The only person that we're missing is our boy Casey.
Is our Buckaroo?
At some point, I know you're going to be listening to this, Casey.
Right.
We're going to have you on here talking about the Mayberry Academy.
Yes, we will. Well, thank you for saying that. You notice this mic remained empty on Sports Talk while you weren't here. I did other podcasting, Nat Geo, the Disney Group. I've done a bunch of things, but the sports side of it, other than the 2-minute drill that I've done with, Joey T, because that's his thing,
yep.
Remained empty, but we're back. We're filling these seats now. We plan on this being a weekly podcast, and we'll take a break every now and then, but we got to have seasons. We're looking for sponsors, by the way. So if you want to be a sponsor, you want your name mentioned on the podcast, which got thousands of listens and views in our previous tenure, jump on now. Jump in while we can get you a discounted price.
No doubt. And we love this. We love to have back everybody back and
right.
And even some new faces.
Yeah, so if you're a new face, if you're looking to get your brand out there, we're going to talk about brands because that's a part of what we're going to do here, right?
No doubt.
All right. We want to get you out there. We have thousands of listeners, and they are loyal listeners. And they'll listen, they'll hear about your brand, and we'll get some exposure for your brand. Coach, what I want to talk about is something that I won't say has changed, but something that you have been more vocal about, and you've dug your feet in a little bit more, your 4 pillars. There's some things that have always been a part of your core, but some things that are emerging now as the 4 pillars you live by, because I think you've turned a corner in terms of, announcing those, not announcing them, but living more out loud with what these core pillars are, these values.
I think you described that perfectly by saying living out loud with those pillars. They've always been the root of who I am and what I do. But I'm putting it out there more, basically out there in the world through social media.
Right.
Certainly in hashtags and visually and
you never know who's going to benefit, right?
No doubt.
Okay.
No doubt. And, as we talk about those pillars, I can name them and give you a little background to them. I mean, the first one, of course, for me is family.
Always.
And that's the number one. And that I would say is the ground pillar, because without them, I'm not who I've been able to become and have a chance to continue to be.
That's that strong base.
No doubt.
Right.
It's led by a core group for me, Right. My wife, number one, my boys, and my parents, my mom, Clorinda Carter, and my dad, Gene, and my mother-in-law, Lynn Daring. That's the core of it. And certainly, my sister is very, very tight, and my cousins and people like that. But that core group that I named first is really what keeps me grounded. They keep me humble. They challenge me.
Right.
They allow me to grow in my space and certainly, support me in any and every venture that I'm a part of. And without that group, certainly a lot of the things that I want to get done can't get done. But because of them, it's really been an unbelievable ride.
But you talk about that family, but on that rim, maybe it's the next rim, maybe it's just the outer part of that first rim. Your friend group will always support you as well.
No, that's big, and,
right.
and that family, it's big. It's bigger than just that small
the
group.
6 or 7 you
But
named,
I'm just
right.
saying that's the foundation of the group.
Right. That's where
And
Steve Turner comes from.
And certainly you hit on it. Like I've got some lifelong friends.
So you've got some 35, 40-year friendships, right?
No doubt about it.
Right.
And they've supported me and continue to support me. And, they're always there when simple as postings, the feedback they give, the love that they give to me. And in this coaching game that I do is they're out there. They're at games. They're checking in. They're keeping up with me in the group. And then that's that bigger family right behind them. Is my basketball family. If
for no other reason than a Gonzaga game, I know I'm going to see Sean Clifton a few times a year, and Iran and Vic and Leo and all those guys, right? They're going to be there for you, that group of yours. And I think you haven't said it, but it's important that our listeners understand that they support you. But if Steve Turner takes someone under his wing, they support that person too.
Oh, no doubt.
Right. So that's your friends. And that speaks to, your upbringing because you chose great friends or great friends chose you. I don't know, but I'm sorry. That's pillar number 1.
Pillar number 2 is it's like it's a 2A and a 2B because they kind of really go hand in hand.
Okay.
And that's basketball and education.
Right.
Those are the next 2 pillars. And that's my job. I mean, that's what I live every day. As being a coach, but also being a counselor, and working with young men down on I Street at Gonzaga every single day, and even beyond their time on I Street, dealing with them as alum. Man, I think I have the best job in the world.
Right.
It's something that I get to wake up to every day, knowing when I walk in the door, or I should say when I leave my door, there's going to be something new coming through, and no day is ever the same.
Right. So when you outside of the basketball court, I've always been thankful that is it the 94 by 50 or the 84 by 50?
Well, I think we have a couple of different ones
configurations
within our league.
Okay.
For the core of it, it's that we want to be on that 94 to 50, the big one. But I think we do have a couple. High school gym is actually 84. Can be 84 to 50.
Right.
So we play in a couple of different courts within the league where some courts are college size floor and the others are legal high school floors.
Right. Well, outside of those lines, I've always been thankful for what you do for the young men on I Street outside of basketball. There's more to basketball than basketball.
No, that becomes that 4th pillar.
Okay.
It's service.
We're going to skip 3?
Well, I said 2 and 3 together.
I'm sorry.
Which was education 1, and the other being basketball.
Okay.
And that 4th pillar is service.
Right.
In my job, I feel like my job is to serve. Right. I serve the young men that I work with every single day, and I try my best to even serve outside of that core.
Right.
As you said, only a couple weeks ago, I was serving some young men.
I'm looking on Instagram, and I'm seeing you in the Bahamas dapping up kids that, we're not yet, Steve. That's another segment in the show.
I got you, but just an example, and we'll talk about that a little more. But service, and it's something that I truly believe in was my calling,
right?
To be able to be there and to do for others. And it's the mantra of Gonzaga, being a man for others. And I've lived that prior to being there, and I continue to live that while I'm there.
Steve, you mentioned your first pillar being family. How's Leah? How's Jared? How's Christian? How's Clarinda? Nicole? How's Nick? How's everybody?
Everybody's doing well.
Right.
J-Rock is getting ready to have a 20th birthday.
Come on, man.
Yeah, 20th,
September, right?
20th birthday.
It's coming up. September 3rd, 4th?
3rd is Leah. 6th is Jared.
Okay, gotcha. All right.
And so he'll head back this weekend, literally on Leah's birthday.
How's Leah turning 25 again?
And she's blessed.
Right.
The fountain of youth has
I saw y'all.
touched
Did she get a tan? Y'all were in the sun.
Yeah, she got tan.
I saw some pictures.
She got tan, and I got
burnt.
I got black. But it was enjoyable. Unbelievable vacation.
How long were you? A week or?
We were there for about 5 days.
5 days, all right.
And I wish I could have been there longer. As I told a few people when I got back to work, they were, and I used some choice words.
Uh-oh.
Lucky that I was bleep, bleep, bleep.
That you brought yourself back?
Because,
it was that good?
Oh, it was that good.
Where'd you stay?
We stayed at a place called Coco de Mama.
Okay.
It's a resort in Eleuthera, Bahamas.
Okay.
If you have a chance, men, if you have a chance and you want some great brownie points, take your lady to Eleuthera.
Did you get to go fishing?
I did not.
Okay. Because I know that's your thing.
So planned to and was all ready to do it. But talking to the captain that we were recommended to, he was like, I don't want to take your money. The waters have been so hot that
you're not getting much fish.
You're not getting in the great catches that you could get at a place like that. And because he was very tight with the people we know there, he was just like, look, just come down here and enjoy these waters. Okay. And we'll get you back another time and get you out on this boat.
Did you get some good seafood while you were there?
Oh, man. Grouper, mahi. I ate, we had good Bahamian dishes.
I know one time you said that they you did some fishing maybe or something. They catch the fish right there in front of you and scale it or do whatever.
Did that in Miami and have done that in Mexico.
Okay, that's where it was. All right. Because you travel. I know you travel.
I like to travel.
I was in St. Croix when you were in the Bahamas.
I know.
I came back through.
I saw the pictures.
I went to Virgin Gorda. I came back through, and we were back. We usually take that vacation right before school starts for Paula, the school teacher, my wife, and so that she could get one last one in before she has to go back to work.
I'll be honest with you. It was a great recharge, reboot, whatever you want to call it, to really get this year started. You know, we're back in it down on I Street, and I'm rearing and ready to go.
Steve, that's segment 1. Let's take a break. We're going to come back with a familiar segment that everybody knows.
Dynamic DJ Entertainment, creating a non-stop party, one dance floor at a time. The Mid-Atlantic Professional DJ Association.
The Starting 5. We are back. Take a T.O. with Coach Turner. I am your host, Kurt Cross. He is Steve Turner. He's back in front of a mic. So am I. We're happy to be here. Thank you for listening to our audience, our old audience, or our legacy audience, and our new audience. If you're a new listener, he's Coach Turner. He is a prized coach. He is a nationally known coach. He was National Coach of the Year, the Gatorade Coach of the Year. He's won several WCAC titles. He coaches Team USA, and you know what? He just likes to spread basketball and life knowledge amongst the young men and women he comes in contact with. He has a great family. I'm Kurt Cross. I'm a podcaster and a DJ by trade, and I love hosting the show. This is my boy. I've known him since 84, 85, somewhere back in there.
Yeah.
The better part of 40 years.
Better part of 40 years.
Come on, Steve. It hadn't been that long.
Look, we've known each other for about 80% of our life.
Absolutely. Yeah. But you're giving away age now. Watch yourself.
It's okay. It's okay.
You embrace it?
I embrace it.
My man. But this is called the Starting 5. And what happens during our Starting 5 segment, I ask Coach Turner 5 questions he has never heard before. I don't prep him with these questions. He gets 30 seconds to answer each question. If he goes over 30 seconds, that's what you'll hear. But I'm pretty liberal with the clock. So, now that it's 2 of us here in the studio, I can ask some questions and I can get some real good answers. You ready, sir?
I'm ready.
Have you seen these questions?
I have not seen these
Year
questions.
number 1 to year number 20 at Gonzaga. What does today's Coach Turner tell Coach Turner, the freshman coach, his first year at Gonzaga coaching?
Just continue to trust yourself and believe in yourself, and don't ever doubt yourself. Allow nature to take its course, and not be a person that's looking to make it all happen now.
Okay. All right. I'm going to leak part of what we're going to talk about later. But what does the 2022-23 season tell you about the band of WCAC coaching brothers, the way they rallied around Pat Behan? And by the way, Pat, we love you. We hope you're listening. And thank you for contributing what you did to the 2022-23 WCAC season.
Man, you hit me right there.
Right. You never seen these questions. I'm getting you, brother.
I mean, I think what I'll say with this, in a league that at times can be cutthroat,
right,
where every single night we're all trying to take each other's heads off,
right,
win games, try to be the team that wins championships at the end. It was proud for me as a coach and being a part of it to see all the coaches finally band as brothers,
right,
for a cause that means something and human life,
right. Far bigger than basketball.
Far bigger than basketball. and I wish that if I had one wish about our league is that we could leave basketball where it belongs, on the court.
Okay.
And if we could do what we did last year, rallying around Pat and even all of us, I think this is probably the first time I could say probably to a man there wasn't anybody, even the guys who lost to him in the playoffs and in the championship, that weren't proud of,
right,
and proud for him and his program.
Right.
And there's a lot going on in the game of high school basketball that's being trickled down from college basketball. I'm just going to throw a message out to our league. We got to stand and stick together. And I could certainly talk deeper to what I'm talking about,
right,
but there's not a soul that I know in this coaching ranks in the WCAC, by me saying what I just said,
who doesn't understand
what I mean.
Right.
And I'm hoping that we can all get together and band together like a band of brothers to hold tight what we own and what we have that has been special for years.
Which is the best conference in basketball across this country.
Thank you. You took the words out of my mouth. And,
you ain't got to say it, Steve.
And allow us to continue to own that, because we'll leave what needs to be left on the court and off the court band together.
I got you. Let's move over to college.
Let me say one more thing about that.
Please do.
And then I couldn't be any more proud of a group of young men and coaches, the guys who coached with Pat last year and the young men who played for him, to watch them stand so strong for their leader in his time of need.
Small story here. So I'm behind the mic for a lot of games, be it NCAA, be it WCAC, football, basketball, baseball, whatever. And I don't always get to connect with the coaches, certainly not on the Division I NCAA level, because, it's a different climate. And in doing so, I was very early for a women's game last year at St. John's, and I sat and I talked to Pat for like 45 minutes. I'd never spoken to him at length before. And he was talking to me about, they had just played out in California. So that was in December, I think.
December, I think they went out to Toy Pines, maybe.
And he talked to me about a kid who did not make the trip. And that was kind of foreshadowing. That kid transferred out shortly thereafter. But just getting to know Pat and talk to Pat was fascinating. And I asked him, I said, what do you think? What's the ceiling this year? He said, I don't know. We hope, a WCSC championship, but blah, blah, blah. It was just great to talk to Pat. Anyway, let's move on to question number 3. A little bit of a shakeup at Georgetown. What does this do for Hoyas Hoops? They moved from Pat Ewing to Ed Cooley. What do you think Ed Cooley's bringing down on the hill?
A whole lot.
Right. His daughter's at Georgetown, maybe?
His daughter just graduated from Georgetown.
Okay, all right.
But what he brings to Georgetown is some new life.
Right.
He brings a guy who's a winner.
And we all wanted Pat to do it.
No, we definitely. I mean, come on, Pat was the.
He's an 83, 84, 85 Hoya.
He's the cold hero. He is Georgetown.
Right.
Next to Big John.
Right.
He is Georgetown.
Right.
And we wanted his success. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. But with this change, I think you get some new down there,
Right.
some new breath, new fresh air, that I think is going to be incredible. I mean, you're already seeing Coach Cooley and what he's been able to do in terms of the recruiting piece already. They've talked about a lot of getting the locals to stay. He's already got the young man Caleb Williams from Sidwell Friends, who will be obviously one of the top 5 teams in the DMV this year and potential top 25 team in the country, committed to him. And you're just seeing how I just see how the fans are rallying around Coach already. Nice. His presence on campus, he's at different things that you normally wouldn't see the Georgetown coaches at. He's allowing last year at exams, the gym to be open for people to come in and need to get a break between their exams, go get a shot up.
Right.
He's bringing something fresh and new, and he was able to do it in this conference at another school.
Right.
So there's
Providence, maybe?
Yes, at Providence. And there's no doubt in my mind that he's gonna bring the Hoyas back up top.
Shout out to Tasha Butts. She was also named the women's head coach over at Georgetown University. They kind of cleaned house over there, and now she is there as well. It's fascinating, you would say, breath of fresh air and a new energy down there, because my next question is, what differences do you see or feel with Josh Harris and Magic Johnson taking over the Burgundy and Gold?
Man, as a guy who lived through the good times,
and then saw
and then saw some bad times.
Right.
I'm excited.
Huge difference.
I mean,
I've seen the man in 10 interviews already.
Come on. Just to see Magic two-step into some go-go.
Right. Right.
Already got me pumped up.
Right.
And he's got the right name.
Right.
You look at the other things that he's been a part of.
Right.
They've always had success.
And you see what the first question is. He asked Josh Harris when Josh called him about this, do you want to win?
Yep.
Are you committed to winning? Because Magic ain't Starbucks,
No,
Magic Johnson movie theaters, the Lakers, the Dodgers. I mean, Magic's putting his money into something he feels will be a success.
Isn't he involved in one of the soccer teams as well?
I think you might be right.
I think he is.
Magic is putting his interest where he can find success, because no one wants to put $1 down and turn back over 50 cents.
No.
Right? He wants to make money, but that happens through winning and culture.
Yes, and I think he's breathing some new life to our Burgundy and Gold, and I'm excited about it. And our fans have got to know this is not an overnight fix either.
No, it's a marathon. It's not.
But I think Sam Cooke said it best: change gonna come.
How about this? 5-7 years ago, you weren't even worried about the Philadelphia 76ers. Now they're factoring into everyone's playoff race, and that's Josh Harris.
Yep.
New Jersey Devils, maybe, as well?
Yep.
Yeah, same thing there. Last question for you, sir. Number 5, what have you learned as a Division I basketball parent? Jared's at Northeastern University.
Yeah.
What have you learned?
I don't think it's anything that I've learned that I didn't think going into this.
Right.
I guess there's a lot I learned. Through his process, I learned a lot.
Okay, yeah.
Him being a Division I basketball player and just being a parent of a Division I basketball player, and nothing better than just sit back and enjoy the ride.
Right.
Let your child's race be his race. Don't try to make things happen that he's going to have to make happen on his own.
Okay.
And it's been my mantra. Trust the process.
Right.
And good things will happen. Just continue to support him, be there for him, be ready to push him a little bit too.
Right.
And then I think the key for vetting who's got your child in their hands.
And you told me before now, they signed a deal so I can watch a few more of his games, right?
Yes, they did.
All right. I'm just making sure they re-up with CBS or somebody.
Yes.
Because I want to be able to watch this young man's game. Ladies and gentlemen, that is your starting 5. The starting 5.
Ray Cruz and MCF Mortgage. Your home mortgage or refinance options await. Call 301-761-2278 or visit raypcruz.com. Ray P. Cruz, mortgages intelligently.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Welcome to Take a T.O. with Coach Turner. I'm Kurt Cross, your host. He is Coach Turner. And, Coach, I want to jump right into it. Let's bring everyone up to speed with Gonzaga basketball. Last year, you had a good season. You have a young team then. You're still a little young now. I think you strategically ran last year to prepare yourself for this year and next and the next. But what do we have to look forward to, and what are you looking forward to in Gonzaga basketball, the Purple Eagles on I Street this coming season?
Well, the team was, I thought had a very, very successful year last year, 26-11. We started off, I think, 18-0.
Killing it, right?
And then we had some sickness and some injuries hit us, and I felt like we never got all the way back on the track.
Okay, all right.
And sometimes it's the way the cookie crumbles, and it was unfortunate. But the team was also 1 point away from being in the championship.
Right.
We then some losses in the playoffs that got you to the opportunity to be able to play to try to get to that final day. And I mean, I all the time, like, nobody played for their school colors the way that St. John's did.
Right.
And for everything that was going on with Pat, if that's who we had to lose to, I can live with that.
Good with that, yeah.
I can live with that, especially with them going on and finishing it. As I said to him after they beat us, go, this is yours. Go get it.
Right.
And they did. But my team, I'm pumped.
You feel good about it,
I
huh?
feel very good about this team.
All right.
We got a lot of really good pieces. We got a group that I really feel as we did last year, and even more importantly for next year, this past summer, we play for each other. We got a band of brothers who are willing to play for something bigger than just themselves. And they understand, I think, that winning cures all, and winning gives everybody an opportunity, as the kids like to say, to eat.
Right.
And so, if we can be able to be successful and continue to do the things that we did just in the short summer we had together, prepping to get ready for this year, I think the fans on I Street are going to be excited about the product that's going to be.
Don't tell us too much. Don't tell us too much now.
I mean, people know, and people are saying it. You see some of these preseason polls, and they got us in the top 20. I don't know if that's where we really are yet, but I know talent-wise, if stars are all aligned and our guys buy into roles and accept the challenge of playing for each other, and again playing for something bigger than themselves, we got a shot in the best league in the country to go after a championship.
Look,
but we got some tough pieces to go through. PVI is going to be really good again.
What?
They're loaded.
O'Connell, right?
O'Connell's brought in some new faces that move them right to the top. Certainly, in those situations, the team has to figure out how to gel and get to know each other quicker in this league sometimes than you
grow
can.
up real quick, don't you?
Got to grow up real quick. But I think Coach Wooten will have those guys ready to go. You got McNamara.
So you got McNamara, you got DeMatha, you've got
St. John. It doesn't stop. St.
Right.
John's, Council, Riken. It's been a team that's been at the bottom, and Coach Jamal, who's was assistant for Pat.
Right.
He's figured out, and he's bringing some new faces in. Ireton has got some new faces in.
You know what they're doing at Riken also? They're scheduling competition that might seem unequal on paper, but you don't get better by not playing up.
No, I mean, I say it all the time. You got to challenge yourselves to see where you are and what you need to do and how you can prepare your team. And you see that from the teams in our league. And you see it really when we all play outside of our league.
Right.
It's very rare that when we play outside of our league, the teams in our league, I don't care if you're number 1 or number 11.
You're not getting whooped.
Find a way to win.
Yeah.
Or you're playing close to some of the stiffest competition in the country.
Absolutely. Because you're getting it right here at home.
No doubt.
You're getting it right here at home. I think when you look at other leagues around the country, certainly in this area as well, I'm not going to suggest that those leagues are not tough leagues, but you're looking at 1 or 2 teams who can carry that league. But in the WCSC, it could be Gonzaga, it could be PVI, it could be DeMatha, it could be O'Connell, it could be McNamara, it could be St. John's. You look, even on the football side, St. John's has had their success, but I think it's a split division now, right? And Carroll went undefeated a couple seasons ago.
Yes.
And Carroll used to be on top in the 80s and 90s, and they had some down years, but there's Carroll, there's Gonzaga, there's St. John's, there's DeMatha football, there's good council football.
Well, you had Riken under Coach Brady, who was a former
Undefeated,
Gonzaga
right?
coach, undefeated, and I think won the championship back to back in the second tier conference. Would it be? I don't know what.
Right,
I don't even
the
know what we
split
call the
conference,
splits,
yeah.
but the lower the second level.
So you're not going to Riken or O'Connell or whatever expecting a cakewalk.
No,
You're not.
No doubt. I mean, you look at this week. Arguably the two best teams in the league played national competition on TV and took their first losses, but they're going to come back and because of those experiences, start smacking people over the next few weeks.
Right. So, look, guys, if you don't know anything about the WCAC, if you're listening to us and you're out west or in the Midwest, Mountain Time, if you're in El Salvador, I don't care where you are, look up WCAC Athletics and you'll see exactly what we're talking about. We're talking about teams that play tough schedules. Steve, you don't stay on I Street and just go in your little 5-mile radius. Where do you guys go? Where have you been in the last year?
Well, we
always go to Nevada or Arizona, right?
Annually we've taken this trip to start our year off playing international competition in Chicago. So we're not even home. We're on the road. We're playing in the Hoop Hall at Springfield over the Martin Luther King weekend. You know, typically for Christmas we're somewhere all over the country. California, it could be Florida, it could be somewhere in the Midwest, it could be down south. Like we're going to take on opportunity to play against the best competition that we can to give our kids an opportunity to be prepared. So when they walk back into the league in the place that we want to win the most, they're ready to go.
Okay. So they're earning some stripes out there.
No doubt.
And some airline miles.
Oh, yeah, definitely that too. You know, like this year, I mean, I can tell you some of our trips, we're heading back to Chicago.
Okay, always.
We're heading back to Springfield. We're going to Arkansas to play in the King Cotton Classic that has the likes of us, Duncanville, who was the last few years top 3 in the country in every poll, undefeated, I believe, one of those seasons. Archbishop Wood, one of the best teams in Philly. St. Francis, one of the best teams in Baltimore. We got Tampa Catholic down out of Florida. So a loaded field with an opportunity for our guys to go play against some stiff competition. And then our own tournament, the little DC Classic. We don't probably don't give it a
tournament. Come on, give us some love.
We're home. But the teams we're bringing in this year, I mean, in the last couple of years, we've had some unbelievable finals. And this year, we're bringing in Whitney Young from Chicago, Archbishop Ryan, who'll be one of the best teams in Philly, maybe the number 1 team, potentially. You got Georgetown Prep here locally. You got Jackson Reed.
That's your boy over there, right?
Yeah, Howard Blues, Gonzaga grad.
Okay.
We got Jackson Reed. Their head coach, David T. Johnson, Gonzaga grad.
And one of their players came from St. John's, right? Settles? Kai? Maybe?
I'm not sure.
I feel like he did. Okay.
I'm not sure. And then our other out-of-town team, Christ the King, traditional powerhouse out of New York.
Come on, man.
So
Steve,
that weekend
it's your tournament, right?
It's our tournament.
You didn't take the easy route.
No, we're not. Well, one thing I'm not going to do, I'm not going to duck any wrecking.
Right.
And I want to play the best competition we can play.
So they ain't going to say Steve Turner ran from a challenge.
For sure.
Oh, man. All right. I can respect that, Coach Turner. You going to save a seat for me?
Always.
All right. I'm going to come down
for
there.
For you and the fam.
You know I'm going to come down and get a hot dog and I'm going to talk to Clarinda. And I'm going to walk away with a T-shirt.
And you're going to definitely walk away with a T-shirt because she's going to make sure you get
maybe a raffle ticket. Y'all had candy bars one year.
Candy bars,
I bought some
raffle tickets.
You got the almonds in the candy bars? Can I get one of those?
We got the variety pack, Coach.
Okay, I want the almonds.
We got you.
I want the almonds. My man. Talk about, we've talked about Team USA, and we'll certainly do a bit of that over the course of this podcast, but I'm really anxious to get into what I saw you doing on camera in the Bahamas.
Okay.
Because I know nothing about it. We have not talked about it, but I saw you encouraging, coaching, guiding some young men in the Bahamas on an outdoor basketball court. Talk to me about that.
So the resort we've stayed at, Coco de Mama, they helped the last couple summers to sponsor and run a clinic for the young men in the Bahamas.
Okay.
Some coming from Nassau, some coming from Freeport, kids who are on the island of Eleuthera. And
was this a pop-up thing or?
No, it's happened, and I just happened to be asked because they knew I was coming. They knew who I was.
Okay.
Would I be a kind of really just like a guest,
Right.
Celebrity? I don't know what do you call it. What do you want?
Right.
But the basketball on me. When they asked me,
you ain't gonna say no
to get on the court, I was like, heck yeah, this is what I do.
Right.
And it was unbelievable. Like, I'm praying and hoping that I'll get called back to do it again. To be able to, again, serve, educate. That's what I do. So when I'm having an opportunity to be put in that light and to continue to grow our game and help some young men who are looking for opportunities to potentially leave from where they are to maybe come here and play for a Gonzaga, a DeMatha, a Georgetown Prep, a St. John's. I'm going to do whatever I can to help in that type of situation.
You know, Steve.
And so I thank God every day that little brown pill, it's almost like the Dr. Seuss book.
Right.
Oh, the places we will go.
You know, Steve, I am in no regards the coach that Coach Turner is. I coached for a number of years, women's high school and college basketball. But when I took my kids to camp a couple of summers ago, you know, as a coach, you got basketballs in the car.
Yeah.
And a couple kids didn't have basketballs. And I said, well, I got some in the car. And like, why would you have some? And I found myself on the court helping out during camp. But you've heard the term, I can show you better than I can tell you, right?
No doubt.
How are they going to find you? Let's talk about your Instagram so people can see what you do.
Well, on IG, at Coach Steve Turner, with the Gonzaga basketball team, at Gonzaga Purple Hoops.
Go find him, y'all.
Come
and
on,
you'll see what he does.
You'll see what I do, and love to have some new followers and folks that I can, collab with, talk with. I'm always loving to talk hoops.
Let's pivot a little bit into a part of athletics that I don't know if we can all be proud of, but we need to talk about it. We need to bring some awareness to it because people need to understand what they're doing, how they're doing it, and what this means for their trajectory and their path. The transfer portal and reclassing, Steve. So the transfer portal, you talked about this 3 years ago with COVID. And the transfer portals being open and being so easy for kids to move back and forth and this, that, and the other, how it hurts teams, how it helps teams, the NIL situation, who's getting more money, this, that, and the other. Let me just say first, because you can talk about this for a while, let me just say that unfortunately what I'm seeing, and I'm on the outside, I have kids, they're not Division I athletes, they're not aspiring to be Division I athletes. They play sports. My son plays tennis and basketball. My daughter plays basketball. They're very good athletes. They're not elite athletes. They have fun with it. I love watching them play, especially since I coach the game of basketball. I feel like I'm seeing decisions being made by parents and families and by schools that may not always direct the student athlete, notice how I said student athlete, in the right direction. And that concerns me. That concerns me if you have parents who have blinders on, who don't recognize what level of talent they have in a student, in their child, who might reclass for another opportunity that may not be there, who may go into the transfer portal. We've seen some of that locally, where they transfer to another school, don't get the opportunity they're looking for, so they transfer again and do this, that, and the other. And maybe, just maybe, it wasn't the coach or the program that was wrong for you. Maybe this student athlete is not the athlete they thought they were. I'm speaking from a novice standpoint. I've never been a part of that. I was done coaching 10 years ago. Hey, high school and college athletics have changed tremendously in the last 10 years. So you're in the thick of it.
Well, tremendously just in the last few years. But
Steve, you're going to tournaments where there's 200 basketball coaches from Division I who are paying for a program so they can have access to kids. Damn what's going on the court. They want the program so they can have the IG and the contact information for these kids.
Let me say this, Coach. They can get that information. They pay for that because these events are making money off of them.
Right.
Those coaches especially at the biggest levels, they don't have to walk into these gyms to see these kids. They're going to get their opportunity, the best of the best, in a whole lot of other ways that they can.
Okay.
So it's a monopoly,
right?
In a lot of ways. But as we talk to, and maybe that's a whole nother story for another podcast.
Okay.
But as we talk to the transfer portal and the reclassing, I'm a proponent that of reclassifying. It's got to be for some reasons that are non-basketball.
Okay.
In my opinion.
Okay.
Now, I can't speak to everybody's situation. Some people will do things for whatever they do it for. But at some point in the sport, you're going to play against older guys.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to always be playing against a kid who's the same age as you.
Right.
So to me, I always said I felt like with the reclass, I thought that's what prep school was for.
Okay.
If he wasn't ready or she wasn't ready after 4 years, then you take an opportunity and you go to prep school and get the extra year.
Right. We've seen that.
And we still see it going that way.
Steve Francis.
But the trend has been now that, if you don't feel like you're on track, let me be the older guy in middle school,
right?
So that I can dominate and have the opportunity,
right, to
go or to be recruited at the place that I really want to go to.
Not realizing that if you need to be seen or are worth seeing, different schools have different needs.
Mm-hmm.
If you're chock full of point guards, Steve, you might not be looking at point guards right now.
No, I think you have to do your homework, and I just think I see a lot of folks who don't do their homework early.
Okay.
Then there's a lot that do,
right?
But I think there's a lot that don't do it early, and everyone's got this hoop dream. I mean, I love them, but LeBron created a monster,
right?
Because everybody wants now their son or their child. It could be on the women's side too. They want them to be the next LeBron, and everyone's not going to be that. There is only one,
right?
And I think we got to be smarter as adults in what our end game is for our child, and really, I think doing a little more in depth conversation with that child and finding out what that child wants their end game to be. Sometimes some of these decisions are not being made because of what the child wants.
Right.
It's being made because of folks living vicariously through their children.
Right.
And it scares me because what happens when the ball stops? It's going to stop. I mean, that's why Big John, for years, the deflated ball on his desk, because you had to be more than just an athlete. No one plays basketball until their life is over.
Right.
So there's going to be a time at some point when the ball stops. What else do you have? What else are you going to be able to do? And there's only so many spots at that big level. And there's a lot of dudes who are in there right now. They're fighting to make sure some of these young guys don't even get a chance.
A few things come to mind. You told me there's 450 jobs in the NBA,
mm-hmm.
and not everyone retires every year.
Right.
Not everyone gets hurt every year. When I coached, my question was this, and there are fewer opportunities on the women's side as far as WNBA than there are in the NBA and Europe and all that. How long do you think, if you were that good, you could play the WNBA? 10, 12 years? My job is not to prepare you for those 10 or 12 years. My job is to prepare you for the rest of your life.
Right.
And yes, the ball will stop.
Well, I always say the four that set up the next four to set up the next 40.
Right.
I'm in the first four. That's the four to get you to college and hopefully to get to a place where you can have another good four.
An opportunity,
that gets you your degree to set up the next 40.
Right.
And I think we're all chasing, and there's nothing greater in life to dream big. We've all done that.
Right.
But I'm a believer in this. Let me start over. I'm a believer in that we should all chase plan A like it's the only plan.
Right.
But we still need to have a plan B and C.
Right.
And then as we talk now, that's the transfer portal. I mean, we talked about the reclass, but the transfer portal.
Mm-hmm.
I'll keep saying it. I think it's a setup system that is essentially helping to keep men, and I'm speaking more to the men than the women on this one, showing them how to run when adversity hits.
And that's terrible.
And that's terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, arguably one of the biggest pandemics in the black community, absentee homes with men.
Right.
Who've run in situations when adversity hits.
Right.
And we have these create homes with single moms raising their children alone. You
and I both lived in a single mom home. We did.
And I don't know your reason, Curtis. I don't. And maybe you'll tell me it right now, but I know mine was absentee because man ran
right
when adversity hit
right.
and couldn't handle his business. And
right.
I love my dad. can't fault him for his choices, but that made me one of those kids, one of those young black men who grew up without dad in the home.
Right. Fortunately for you and for me, there were some other male figures, and our moms were definitely strong enough.
Well,
They were definitely
I say
strong
this all
enough.
the time. Many times that Father's Day was also Mother's Day again.
Right.
And because my old girl Clorinda, she held it down. But
she told us they come, boy.
But she had a village, but my village was strong by women. My great grandmother and my grandmother, God rest both of their souls, they stepped in, and I had my aunts, and they all, those women, they were strong,
right.
And they stepped in to help each other, to raise me and my cousins and my brother and my sister, to make sure that we were all going to be model citizens that understood, got to have a job.
Well, responsibility.
You got to have responsibility.
Elders,
all that stuff. So I just want to see a world that changes that, and I hate that I watch this transfer portal potentially creating more of those demons and monsters.
Right. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of this segment. We'll be back in just a moment. More with Take A T.O. with Coach Turner. I'm Kurt Cross. He's Steve Turner. We'll see you in just a moment.
From Washington, D.C. to Ocean City, Woodbridge to Columbia, Richmond to Virginia Beach, the hottest DJs are right here. The Mid-Atlantic Professional DJ Association.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Welcome to Take A T.O. with Coach Turner. I'm Kurt Cross. He is Coach Steve Turner, Gonzaga College High School head coach, Team USA coach, a leader of young men on I Street and globally. Steve, you've been in Mexico. Talk about where you've been for this love of the game of basketball.
The game has taken me to a lot of places. Last 2 summers prior to this, the prior 2 summers.
Right.
Keep forgetting we're just finishing up this summer.
Right.
But the prior 2 summers, opportunity to be with USA Basketball, coaching 2 gold medal teams, one in the FIBA Americas at the U16s in Mexico, and then the summer prior to this past one, coaching the U17s to gold in Spain. And it's allowed me an opportunity to work with some of the best basketball athletes
in the world.
I'm going to say in the world. I can't just say in the States.
No, don't hesitate.
In the world. Some of your next pros.
Right.
Some of your next draft picks in the next couple of years.
Right. You coached, you had camps and clinics with Drew Holiday.
Yes.
Right. You can name some names.
Guys that I've had over the years, Drew Holiday, DeMar DeRozan, Kevin Durant. I list can keep going on. And it's not something that I brag about. I was just blessed with an opportunity, and I'm thankful to the people who trusted and believed in me as a coach and a guy that could give some knowledge and some tutelage in a short period of time to some of the most talented basketball players that the world has to offer. I'm excited to see these guys that I did have those 2 summers to be with. Some of those guys, it culminated with this past spring, being able to coach and be the head coach for USA with the Hoop Summit, and it's gonna be fun to see those guys that I got to coach this year.
When I turn on ESPN,
they're gonna be freshmen this year,
right?
Playing for some of the best teams in the country. And
can you coach some games that I can watch at a regular hour though, Steve? It's like 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'm watching you coach.
Look, I can't control
the space-time continuum, and
they put us out. They put it out in Portland. If it was out here on the East Coast, that would have been a different thing.
I'm just saying, I turn on my TV and my alarm goes off because when FIBA's playing, when Team USA is playing, when the Hoop Summit is playing, when the Peach Jam is playing, I'm programming in my phone so I get an alarm so I can watch it.
But I'll tell you, along with coaching those young men, what has really been it for me is being around some of the best basketball minds in the world.
Absolutely.
Led by Coach Joe Walters,
right,
who we had on our podcast in the past.
Shout out to Showalter and his stakes.
And everybody go out and get his new book. If you want to know and learn from a legend, that book is a must. And he just had a recent birthday. I talked to him on his birthday.
Okay, good.
he threw down a nice ribeye.
Of course he did. And Coach White as well, right?
And Coach Sean White, being able to be side by side with the guy that I've had a chance at the high school level to coach against each other. Matter of fact, our one time
Georgia, right?
Georgia. Our one time playing against each other was a thriller down in Myrtle Beach, triple overtime game. At some point, Sean, we do need to play again.
Set it up.
You want to know? I got to get a chance to even the score.
You got some openings on your schedule from year to year, right?
No doubt.
So make it happen, Coach.
And I'd love to come down. And I'd love to come down to Georgia and play him there.
Right.
But being around guys like Sharman and Nick Legawa, who has helped coach our 3-on-3 teams to go the last couple of summers. He just did it again over in Asia. And working with on the staff that I had, Frank Bennett, Chaminade, he's coached guy over there for the Boston Celtics, Mr. Tatum.
Watch it.
Being able,
we Lakers fans over here.
Being able to just be in rooms with guys like that where we get to challenge each other, we get to learn from each other, we get to grow from each other, has only, I like to say, fueled my tank for me to be able to continue to give to the kids that I have here at home. I say this all the time. If I go to USA Basketball and I don't bring something home from the experience, then I've failed. Then I've failed, and I've also failed my guys. Right. So I continue to take every opportunity that is afforded to me by them to be a part of that group, to be able to also give to the young men that we're working with when we're there, but also to come back home and give to my guys.
Shout out again to Christian, Jared, Leah, Lynn, Clarinda, because they have to loan you out, right, to Team USA Basketball and FIBA and all of that.
It's true.
Because
it's true.
You spend a little time away from. Hopefully, from time to time, they get to travel with you and see some of the world with you as well. Steve, you bring it back home to what we constantly talk about is the best conference in the country, the WCAC. To get a little bit more into it, Coach Pat Behan coaches the St. John's College High School Cadets men's basketball team over there. And he was diagnosed in 2022 with ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease. And I think a couple of his family members also were diagnosed over the years with ALS. And what I remember, and the headline we all remember, is "I'm still your coach." "I'm still your coach" is what he said in an article in the Washington Post. The effort to support Pat has grown into Behan Strong, hashtag Behan Strong, several fundraisers. And Pat, we wish the best for you always. It's been great getting to know you over these years, and I'm thankful for the opportunity to get to know you and see your fire on the sidelines and to pass you mints before every game and all of that stuff. And that culminated this year with Pat being on the sidelines and a great support staff and his coaching staff, or a great support team and his coaching staff, and boys who played for him as this was his season. They achieved some things that I think Pat was hoping they would achieve. Some of the rival teams were hoping he wouldn't, but silently hoping he would achieve. And if you just type in Pat Behan, Behan, on Google and ESPN, you take a look at it, and you'll see his story. ESPN ran a great story on him where he ran through the WCAC season, had some ups and downs, had a very successful season, got to the WCAC tournament, won that. And it was a storybook season for Pat and his team, the young men who played for him. So we all got to witness that firsthand, but it's absolutely a story worth looking up on Google and just seeing how that unfolded here and how, from a broadcast perspective, from a PA announcer perspective, I got to sit back and watch those games. And I got to see Pat coach his team and how these young men played so hard for Pat and how other coaches in the league respected Pat, and everyone in the gym wearing a Behan Strong t-shirt, everyone getting together for the fundraisers. And that's what's good about this sport. Realizing that there's more to basketball than basketball. Realizing that, as Coach Turner said earlier, even though we want to knock each other's blocks off on the hardwood, we know that there's a man on the other side who is going through something. And, Pat, I will tell you this. I've always believed that to get to something, you got to go through something. And, Pat, we are with you. We hope you are fighting strong. We understand the medical costs, and we understand the frustrations. We understand that, this isn't easy, but we thank you for being someone who can show us what it's like to fight. And that's Pat Behan. And I wanted to give him a little bit of time on this show because I think we need to bring awareness to what the WCAC is all about and how everyone supported Pat. Steve, earlier you said, and did you want to say anything about that?
We've got it. There's another big event that's being run by the Behan Strong Foundation. To be
coming up in a few weeks,
coming up in the next few weeks. I believe it's the 16th of September. It's the second annual
Behan Strong fundraiser, cornhole, right?
Behan Strong fundraiser. It's a great day, opportunity to bring your kids out. They're gonna have, some food trucks, different things for the kids to do.
I think there'll be music or something.
A cornhole competition tournament.
So if you think you know what you're doing on cornhole, show up.
Yes, but
pay your registration though first.
Definitely pay your registration. we got to raise money for Pat, and we all want to punch back for Pat.
Absolutely.
And so I pray and hope that you guys are hearing me and hearing this message, and we'll get to the BeHamStrong.com and have an opportunity to put your money where your mouth is.
Right.
Give to this cause. Pat deserves it. We want to do everything in our power to be able to make sure he has all the resources that he needs in fighting this battle.
To continue this fight, right?
Yes, sir.
To continue this fight. And Pat O'Connor, congratulations. You've been named
yes.
the interim head coach there. I hope that becomes permanent.
You took the words out of my mouth.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
You took the words out of my mouth because today St. John's did announce that his top assistant, Pat O'Connor, is going to be the interim head coach. And I don't have a problem saying that. I said it to him, and I meant it. Congratulations, Pat. And now go get that interim tag off your name.
Get it off your name, bro. Get it off your name. You talked earlier, Gonzaga, O'Connell, DeMatha, PVI, St. John's. I mean, McNamara. Everyone's in the mix. So there are no off nights in the WCAC. And since we've spoken about it, we've spoken it up throughout the podcast, just give me one more nugget about that. If someone is walking into a gym to see Gonzaga versus PVI, what in the hell are they walking into, Steve? Well, first of all, they better not walk in close to tip-off because it's going to be sold out.
Well, if you don't have a connection between the two schools, you're not getting in that game.
Right.
But someone said this to me, and the guy who said this to me, not going to say his name, but he's pretty well-to-do, and he does pretty well.
Okay.
But he said to me, the WCAC basketball is arguably the best $5 ticket and show in town.
Right.
Where you can go spend probably less than $20 and be the most entertained that you'll get anywhere. And if you come into a game like that, you're gonna get treated to something pretty special.
Absolutely.
And with both the teams, if that's the game that you're coming to, I can tell you with the talent level that's going to be on the court for both teams this year, it'll be something special.
Absolutely. And on the girls' side, we're not going to shortchange the girls' side. The St. John's women have done, incredible over the years. I've been fortunate to call a lot of games for them, and I've seen, Dikembe Mutombo's niece. I've seen AZ Fudd. I've seen Paige has walked in that gym. Mm-hmm. And if you don't know who I'm talking about, go watch some women's basketball. But at the same time, Scribner's not. He's like Steve Turner. He's not walking away. He's playing Sidwell. He's playing. I can't say it. Not Prep. Not Jordan. Visitation. Mm-hmm. He's playing these teams. He's playing teams in Long Island. I mean, we're not walking away from tough competition. And I will tell you, one of the best coaching jobs I've seen in all of my years of watching basketball is to watch Scribner get the most out of his teams. Delaney was down for a dozen games. Yep. And here comes Carolee. He's got a crew. He's got a crew down there. Over on the women's side as well, Elizabeth Seton. They've been, they've had a few down years. David Bell's out. Candy Cage is gone. She went to become commissioner over in the A10, right?
In the A10.
In the A10, but Cabria Johnson's now at Elizabeth Seton. So you look at these teams, PVI, Oak. I mean, you look at these teams. And the WCSC on the women's side is nothing to sneeze at either. Holy Cross will give you their best on any given night, and you're going to play McNamara. Did I fail to mention them? Well Frank Oliver's gone.
We're going to be interested
Frank's
to see what happens with McNamara. Is they lost a heck of a coach in Frank Oliver.
Congrats, Frank.
And congrats to Frank.
Where's he at?
He's heading down to IMG.
Not the regular team, the national team.
No, the national team.
Right. So congrats, Frank. And Someone asked me, and I couldn't remember because I didn't text Frank to ask him, but his father, how was he connected to basketball locally?
I forget.
Yeah, because someone was asking me about that, and I'm pretty sure he was. But Frank, look, you have been good to me over all these years. Even though we've been on opposite sidelines, if I ask the man for a roster, I get a roster. You know, he's got some fire on the sidelines now, but which of us doesn't, right? Which of us doesn't? So, Frank, congratulations. I wish you well. I hope you sustain, build, or whatever you have to do down there to leave the game down there better than you found it.
And he will.
And I know he will. Yeah, I know he will. Steve, that's all I got. That's the script.
Appreciate you.
That's it, Steve.
Thanks for bringing me back. Can't wait for the next one.
Can't wait for the next one. Oh, whoa. I got to give you a next one?
Oh, for sure.
Oh, my goodness. All right, so Steve says I got to bring him a next one. Look, let's talk about Four Corners Pub real quick, though. Steve, you always talk about Four Corners Pub. It is a staple for all of us Silver Spring, Lower Montgomery County folks, right?
I can't believe that you have never walked in those doors. So pick a night on me.
I've never been there.
We're going and having a little dinner.
They got burgers and wings?
They got burgers and wings, some of the best in the city.
Shout out to Stained Glass Pub, too. They're good, too.
They are good.
But I've never been to Corner Pub, Four Corners Pub, whatever you call it. But I know you and your crew be down there a lot.
That's our spot.
In fact, didn't you took a selfie with Brad Ripto, didn't you?
Yes.
My man Brad. Shout out to Brad and Jeremy.
So there's a crew, the crew from over at
St. John's.
They're
right.
over there. They're
Military
over too.
Road.
As I say, it should change its names to Cheers because you walk in there, you're gonna know somebody.
Everybody knows your name.
Yes, sir.
Steve, this has been fun. Same time next week.
Same time next week.
My man, this is Take a T.O. with Coach Steve Turner. Shout out to Casey O'Neill. Shout out to DJ Krissy. Shout out to the whole Turner crew. Shout out to mine, Paula, Chelsea, and Adam. Steve, who do you need to shout out, sir?
Man, just blessed. And I thank my family again for just having my back, supporting me. And that's the whole family. That's not just the foundation group. That's all the people who love and support me daily and give me the opportunity to be able to do what I do. I couldn't do this without you guys as a village. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart.
We'll see you next time, folks.